So I'm just waiting for the car to defrost a little bit here. I know this looks kind of silly, but it's extremely cold here at the moment. So anyway, I'm trying to get back in the habit of actually making the odd video here. So I have been really enjoying reading the Horus Heresy books in the Warhammer 40,000 series of books over the last 8 months or so. I'd seen that Morgoth had made a couple of videos kind of singing their praises, just as a kind of a, it doesn't always have to be classic literature you're reading all the time to get a bit of value out of books that are they're science fiction obviously, but the writers, the Dan Abnett and Graham McNeil, and there's about like 10 writers there. They've crafted a very interesting little universe or galaxy at least, and they're really, if I was like 15 years of age reading this stuff, my mind would be blown, and I'd be like, I have to get the next book. And at the end of every book, they have the cover of the next one saying, here's the next book you have to get. A very quick observation would be, I'm not sure if they're going to suffer from the Game of Thrones problem of where, while they're very entertaining books to read and they're very well written and they're you'd certainly want to read them, but like the story's going nowhere. That's the big problem, of course, in Game of Thrones, is that as good as the books are to read, as interesting as they are to read, the story's going nowhere. It's not leading to anything, and this is of course the big problem that George R.R. Martin has with Game of Thrones, is that, and I think he's acknowledged it, is that he's written himself into a corner. The surviving characters aren't evolving to anywhere. I'm not going to get sidetracked into talking about how not all the characters are just postmodern, neither good nor bad kind of characters, because that actually isn't true. Jon Snow and Davos Seaworth and Sam Tarly are obviously good characters within the frame of that book, but that's for discussion another time. What I really wanted to talk about briefly today was I'm reading book 5 in the series of the Horus Heresy, Fulgrim. This is named for the Astartes Primarch Fulgrim, who was the Primarch of the Emperor's Children, and their defining characteristic as an Astartes legion is that they seek perfection in everything. That's they deem themselves as perfect warriors, not just perfect in terms of physical prowess, with a sword or gun, but physically, perfect with tactics and perfect with discipline and how they deploy themselves. That's their thing. There's other legions like the world leaders, so just mindless violence is their big selling point, and the Luna Wolves, who became the Sons of Horus, who was just overall fighting ability and aggression, and they're all supposed to share this common characteristic of just utter loyalty to the chain of command, complete, total and utter loyalty and respect for the chain of command, from the Astartes troops to their captains to their commanding officers, the Primarch, and all the way up to the Emperor. But of course, this isn't in practical terms. This isn't working out at all, because they're all deployed the length and breadth of the galaxy for centuries on end, and they're left to their own devices to a certain degree. So here we are with Fulgrim, who is the Primarch of the Emperor's Children, and perfection is the goal here. And This, of course, is what is the seed of destruction for Fulgrim. The perfection isn't tethered to any kind of thing other than perfection. It's perfection, just like technology is in and of itself is its own end. Perfection is the end. It's not tethered to we seek perfection because seeking perfection, attaining perfection will allow this to happen. No, it's perfection for perfection's sake. Now, without going too far into it, because we know that Fulgrim himself has been kind of, in seeking this perfection, has kind of almost gotten addicted to a drug. It seems to be a theme in the book. But what really caught my eye was one little exchange where he approaches one of his remembrancers, a sculptor called Astartin Delafor, and Fulgrim himself has become interested in taking up sculpture as a way of creatively expressing his pursuit of perfection. And he brings some of his examples to Delafor to say, none of this is working. I'm not happy with any of this. Why isn't that you, as an experienced sculptor, explain this to me? And Delafor is obviously terrified of him and doesn't want to speak candidly to him. But Fulgrim gives him leave, gives him permission to speak candidly. So he says, the sculptures you have are perfect. They're flawless. They're utterly flawless. There's physically not a thing wrong with them. But they don't represent anything other than a manifestation of a craft, a physical craft that has been perfected. They don't indicate anything. They're not showing anything tragic. They're not showing anything particularly heroic. They're just what they are is just examples of a craft perfectly achieved. There's no blemish, nothing. You haven't rendered your characters badly, like proportion-wise, everything is all fine, but they just don't signify anything, and that's why you see achieving perfection is for its own sake is no good. Now, even as he's saying all this, he can see that Fulgrim didn't want to hear this at all. He wanted to hear lies to validate his thoughts, and your man Delafor realizes that he's making a mistake saying these things, and he's trying to. But before he can explain to Fulgrim, look, don't worry about it. What you should be doing is trying representing yourself in your art. That's what you should be trying to do. Fulgrim doesn't want to hear this, and he's getting pretty close to where, and in books where people are killed bloodily every other page, and I'm sure the sculptor understands how dangerous his position is. But the reason I wanted to mention this at all, and I can see that we're on 8.5 minutes now, and it's getting a bit long and boring. Fulgrim is very, very unhappy because he's completely realised at this point that the pursuit of perfection in and of itself is completely hollow, and you can't append any deeper meaning or value to it at all. And this is making Fulgrim extremely unhappy. Now, what he's going to do, of course, is this is essentially a mental health problem he has. And here's my point. Fulgrim is being depicted in those books as someone who is kind of profoundly depressed, really, at his core. But he's one of those moral cowards who, rather than doing anything about his depression, he's going to take it out on everybody else. He'll drag them all down with him, which is and the way the book's narrative lines are written, we already know a lot of what he's going to do, except we didn't understand why it was happening. But yeah, he's going to drag them all down with him rather than doing anything about himself, which I don't know if it was this guy Graham McNeil's intention in the book to tease that theme out, but it seems to me that that's pretty much what's been written about here in a really entertaining and excellent way, it has to be said. Yeah, one of those cowards that won't do anything about his unhappiness, or the way he'll deal with it is he'll take it out on everyone else, and he'll bully and attack and terrorise everyone else, and he'll drag the sycophants along with him, and which makes him a complete coward, actually, paradoxically, as great as his army legion is. So yeah, it's there's 50 of these Horus Heresy books I seriously doubt. Although, you know what, maybe I will actually read them all. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But I haven't given away too many plot spoilers there either. So I really do highly recommend those books. I think young lads would really enjoy reading. They probably are reading them. Although, as far as I can see, they only like the action figures and the board games and stuff. I don't know if the books are taking off with younger readers, but a 52-year-old would be, you know, reactionaries like myself. It's a real gift. Thank you, Horus Heresy. No, I can just about see out of the car now, so I don't particularly want to go to the gym here, but you know, the Astartes perfection though, you know what? Let's give it a little bit of a chance. You know, there's no harm orientating yourself in the direction of that kind of dedication to your craft. Okay, so let's see if this 105 kilo frame can be dragged around the gym for the most gentle, middle-aged and low T workout you could possibly imagine. Thanks for listening.